We really appreciate that you have prioritized to attend the session today, the priority setting industry information session for Africa and America region, which is part of the process of the global minor use priority setting process for 2025. We appreciate that you have come, and we really thank you that you have taken time out of your busy schedules to attend the session. Just to give you a background of what has happened so far, we did a call for nominations in January, and we were able to receive a number of nominations from different regions. We received 5,000 nominations from partners, from researchers, from growers across the entire continent. And we have been working around to sort them and have some sense in them so that we can present to you as the industry to provide us with the solutions that will help us respond to the challenges that have been identified relating to specialty crops. And we really thank you that you have managed to come. And before I can continue, I would like to welcome Dr. Drost to be able to give us the official remarks, and at the same time to be able to set the session rolling. Thank you very much, and welcome, Dr. Drost.
Well, thanks a lot. It's a pleasure to be here with you all today. And it's an exciting day, an exciting day for me personally, because I've come from industry and in terms of my career, and I know how important the partnership is between industry and minor use organizations like the one we are representing today, to work together collectively and collaboratively to develop and introduce new technology. I'm pleased to welcome you on behalf of the board and our executive director, Anna. It's a pleasure to welcome you to this industry information orientation workshop for the Global Minor Use Priority Setting process. Many of you know that we conducted a global minor use priority setting process and culminated in September of 2020. And then previous to that, the process had been conducted approximately every 5 years. So we've been doing this for a little while. Some of you may be new to it. Others are perhaps participated in some of the previous sessions. So thank you for joining and representing the industry community and shaping the future of pest and disease management tools that will be available to growers globally. It's very important that we do this together because independently, neither of us can be successful. Many of these crops are very small acreage, very specialized, and without your support in providing the access to these tools, we could never help facilitate a registration or a use on these crops. So we want to fill the gaps that are emerging, and you'll hear more about the gaps that are emerging in the priority from the priority setting process and the opportunities that are there, not only for MRLs, but also for products that are in entering reevaluation, as well as other special projects that growers and grower groups and other nominators are interested in. You'll learn about the online tools and resources that you will use to complete the process between now and the end of May. So I believe this workshop is going to give you valuable information and insight and input into the work that we're going to do together to prioritize pest management tools and support harmonized systems that facilitate trade. So with that, again, I would like to thank you for joining us today. I'd also like to thank our donors for the funding that facilitates this important priority setting project. And I look forward to hearing from you. If you have questions for me personally, you're welcome to drop them in the chat or send them to me at dirk.drost@minorUseFoundation.org. With that, enjoy the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Drost. Yeah, we really thank you for the leadership to the Minor Use Foundation activities. You have given us the stage and let us know exactly what Minor Use is interested in and what we are going to benefit from the industry participation that we have today. For me not to take more of your time, I would like now to welcome Dr. Sasireka, the Global Operations Manager, to give us a presentation on the overview of the Minor Use Foundation's work in the regions. Welcome, Sasi.
Thank you so much, Malan. I hope you can hear me well and see my slides.
Yes, Sasi.
Thank you all. And as Malan was highlighting, some of you are so much aware or so are closely working with the foundation, and you know very well what we do. There are a few participants who might be knowing or listening to us for the first time. So we would like to give a brief background on our presence and our engagements in different regions. So this I am making also on behalf of Melon, our Africa Regional Manager, and Edwin, our Latin America Regional Manager. So I am Sasi and I work from India. I look after the Asia activities for the foundation. So having said that, Minor Use Foundation is established in 2018 as a result of the success that we had from the Minor Use project that was funded by WTO's STDF. And with that great impact, and we wanted to have this work continue with all the technical team that we worked across different regions. So that's how we started with the motto that a world where fruits, vegetables, nuts, spices are plentiful and affordable for everyone. So why specialty crops? You know, you as an industry, you all know the minor use, and our focus is mainly to enhance the availability of crop protection tool for the specialty crops. Minor use is really an important issue for pesticide registration and a big concern for pest and pesticide management. So without registered products for the specialty crops, there is always misuse and overuse of pesticides, resulting in health, environment, and economic problems. And most importantly, the specialty crops also gives a great return for the small scale farmers. So which is also why we have this idea to promote the importance of specialty crops across the world. So in all the work that we do or any initiative that we take, we always keep thinking about the farmers or the growers. So in this fast changing regulatory system or increasing complexity, growers always have some issues understanding what's happening, what are the changes, what are all the recent advancements. Like there could be always some phasing out of older chemicals, changing trade trends, misinformation on how to use pesticide or biopesticide, and lack of clarity on biopesticide. You know, there is always an assumption that all biopesticides or anything that is of plant origin could be safe. So there is always this changing scenario that growers are facing in their day-to-day life. And at the foundation, what we really aim to do is have our farmers at the center, and whatever initiatives that we do, we try to align with the needs of the farmers. All the researchers or even the governments that we are working with, the requests for any projects comes from the growers to the government and to us on how we can link or act as a spider, connecting all national policies, research and development, private industries, trade policies, or enabling trade for the growers and all that. So we try to bring that harmoniously to support specialty crop growers get crop protection tools that they need across the globe. So having set this background about why we are here to support the growers and what we do, we have set ourselves like 4 goals that you see on the screen. First, to amplify international attention and investment in specialty crops. And second goal, to promote a regenerative approach to agriculture through increased biodiversity and catalyze public-private partnership to facilitate the trade of specialty crops and to facilitate smallholder uptake of safe crop protection technology. So we have set this goal in order to support the specialty crop growers. And to achieve that goal, we have framed our workflow, linking different activities, starting with identifying what are all the pest and disease need for the specialty crop growers. So for this, we get, as Melan was highlighting, we launched our nominations, call for submissions of pests and diseases in January. And we received almost 5,000 nominations that my colleague will be talking about in the next presentation. So we get inputs from growers across, and then we try to pool that and send it to the industries asking, so these are all the problems that the farmers have, and would you be recommending any solutions to address this? And once we have the inputs from the industries, we will be going back to finding funds and resource mobilization to see how we can address that problem for the growers. So here, growers association, export import in countries that are exporting or importing, and the industries, they all play a key role in supporting us to find a way to mobilize resources to address the project. And once we have that in place, since most of our work are also around setting Codex MRL and relaxing trade barriers, we also conduct GLP residue studies by looking at the Codex MRL schedule, by looking at if industry is interested in continuing a support to the particular pest issue in a country, and also if a country is willing to carry out that work with us. So based on all this, we try to conduct GLP studies, and we establish national and Codex MRLs that helps to ease the facilitation, that helps to ease the trade barriers. So finally, what we aim to achieve through all this workflow is to have reduced off-label use of pesticides, enhanced food safety, policy influence, registration of crop protection solutions, and MRL alignments with different countries. So I was highlighting about the GLP studies that we do, and core part of what we do is generate data to strengthen CCPR. Most of the specialty crops lack MRL, or they do not even, in some cases we have also noticed they do not even have one single MRL listed under Codex. So that's why we are also focusing mainly to bring the focus around the specialty crops at the Codex level, and also promote international cooperation and information sharing. I say this because whenever we try to conduct studies, let's say for pineapple, we have 2 trials in Asia, 2 trials in Latin America, 2 trials in Africa, and we create a platform for the researchers to share their experience and to get updated from each other's work. So we try to build that network of experts within different regions. And to give you a glimpse of where we are present right now and where we are planning to expand with the future studies. In particular, our team is very active in Latin America. As you can see from the graph, there is a lot of interest from the work that has been initiated by the foundation. And to ensure that whatever work we do is up to the international standard, we make sure to have lab and field training before we start any trials with the countries. So this is all based on OECD GLP guidelines. And with reference to Latin American region, I would like to highlight, that we have an exclusive Center of Excellence for Pesticide Studies in the region that is co-led by MUF along with IICA, and we organize several trainings on an annual basis to all the researchers from South American region. And we are also planning to expand that training to Africa and Asia in the coming years. So to just give you a quick overview of our work. So this is our work with ASEAN and Africa. And currently we have the listed studies. So I'll not take more time going over each study, but you can please take a look at these studies from our website, which is updated. And in the future, we are also planning to start few studies on tropical fruits and so many other interesting specialty crops in the region. So we tried to put together an impact story from each region, Africa, Latin America, and Asia, with whom we've been working very closely for the past 4 years. And please take a look at it, and we will be sending the link to these videos in the chat. You can see how the work that we do can impact farmers and help them get more income and help them have a better life. So with this, satisfaction of work that we do to the community, we are here now to continue our work with your support. So with that, I will stop my presentation and I will hand over to Melon. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have during the Q&A session. If there are any additional questions, I can also address them in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sasi. That was a very good presentation, especially highlighting the importance of specialty crops in the world, the importance and the role of minor use foundation, and also going forward to discuss the importance of the industry in supporting us to find solutions to these challenges. Just to reiterate what Sasi has said, if you have any questions relating to the presentations, kindly feel free to provide them in the chat. We shall continue responding to them. And at the end of this session also, we shall have a question and answer session. I would like now to take you to the next step where we will tell you how many nominations we've gotten and what it actually means for you to be able to intervene as the industry. You're welcome, Veronica. Thank you.
Thank you, Melon. I'm really happy to be today here. I'm going to share my screen, and maybe Melon can confirm if you can see my presentation.
Yes, Vero, you can put it on presentation mode.
Yeah, let me see. Now it's okay?
Not yet. Yes, that's okay. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Well, today I will share the different nominations that we received during our process. And to start, we have classified the nominations in 6 categories: new solutions, local registration, a periodic review, Codex MRL, and import MRL. And finally, we have an spice and people saying special ideas to improve the availability of minor use or specialty crops. In total, we got 5,250 applications. And before continuing, I would like to clarify that 1,300 were sent by our system, our website system or email, and the other 3,800 were sent by the European Minor Use Coordination Facility. And this analysis that we will share today was done without the data of EU. And the reason is because these other nominations, they identify with other process, and we are going to take another ways to try to work together with them or try to do match with our work plan. And for this reason, you are not to see the analysis taking in consideration this other kind of nomination, but we are going to review and try to improve the availability for the minor use. And like you see in the pictures, the mode of request category was new solutions. It was around 44% in this category. And other 27% is the second one, are looking for an import or Codex MRL for a known solution. And I would like to highlight that for new solution, people say 47% are looking for biopesticide or conventional. Whatever you can propose is going to be okay for them. 40% are looking for conventional, and 11% are looking for biological solution, not conventional. And this make us think that we will show gradually opening up the option to generate data to support biopesticide registration, as our partners tell us. And these nominations come from 48 countries, different countries, and 5 different organizations. You can see in the picture some examples of the countries that we received nomination, but it was 48. Another things that I would like to highlight is these nominations come from different continents, for several continents. We have nomination from Europe, Asia, Africa, Oceania, America, and I think we have a good global representation. And now we are going to take a look one by one category, starting with new solutions. The top crop were peppers, chiles, bell peppers, sweet peppers, and following by avocados, tomatoes, and eggplants. And the collection subgroups with more nomination were tropical fruit, fruits and vegetables, citrus, and beans. And in the slide shows the top 10 crops, and on the right side, you can see the mean pests and disease, and you can look the trips were the priority. But if we analyze the combination or the balance between pests and crops, the top 10 was especially trips in peppers and passion fruit and eggplants, followed with anthracnose in different tropical fruits. And the high priority was peppers and trips. Now we can move to missing emerald. And we received about more than 100 nominations. It was 144 nominations of different pesticides were nominated. The most common pesticide that we find with nomination, it was imidacloprid and spinosad, and behind them, pymetrozine, propinet, carbaryl, and azoxystrobin. And the majority of the countries wants to have or got or setting an emerald codex, but another 21% of requests want an import emerald in countries like USA, EU, China, Russia, South Korea, Philippines, and others. In this category, looking crops, the majority of nomination come from rice. I know that thinking in global, rice is a major crop, but in some developing countries, this is a minor crop, and probably for this reason we received this nomination. Remember that this is for known solutions. And after rice, we have peppers, mangoes, and banana. We received nomination for different 82 crops and 70 countries in this category. We have the other category that is periodic review. And again, in this category, the crop lead was peppers and tomatoes, and we received nomination from different 26 pesticides. And on your right, you can see the main pesticide that we received during this process. And as we analyze the pairs, malathion in tomato, it was the lead in this category. But we are going to share with all of you, this information, but not exactly all the pesticide or all the nominations. We are doing a pre-analyze, and we are going to try to see what pesticides have a good scenario or can apply with all the requirements for the periodic evaluation. And after that, we are going to send the list to you. In the category of local registration necessities, tomatoes and berries and small berries, cucurbites and passion fruit are the top of the list. But a lot of different kinds of active ingredients was nominated or asking like a local registration. Not just conventional, they are asking too for biopesticide or another alternative to try to get a registration. We got in this category more than 102. And finally, going to special projects. In this area, we asked to the different participants, please send your ideas that you think that it could be really helpful, something especially not exactly generate data, but something that it could be really helpful to to improve the viability of minor use. And then we received like 40 categories from governments, growers association, and international organization. And maybe we can classify these ideas in harmonization, international data sharing, data generation, pesticide monitoring programs, and digital tools to identify pests or disease. Especially growers wants to work in this area, and supporting local registration. And we would like to say that we are not just to send the main nominations that we received. We are going to add a nomination who has or the person clarified that they can support the project. We ask them if they can support the proposals with some kind of support. Not exactly money, it can be time, labs, fields, budget. And we look favorably. One priority is these priorities are going to have support, and we can work in cooperation between different sectors. Then this is really important for us, and we are going to add another, maybe are not the top 10, but have a good scenario to generate the data or to work in a good idea. And finally, before finishing, I would like to invite you to send your proposal. It could be conventional, biopesticide, or a really good idea that you have to address these priorities. And we are going to be really happy to receive. And thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Vero. And we want to welcome everyone who has joined us in the course of our program. We really appreciate that you have taken time to attend this session. We note that from Vero's presentation, there was a global interest in the nomination process. And I feel that each one of you has a role to play in finding solutions to these challenges, because you have solutions for pests in your areas of expertise. I would like now to welcome Ms. Anna to be able to give us a demonstration on how we will be able to work together with minor users, the industry, and also other engagements relating to the post-prioritization process. Welcome, Ms. Anna. Thank you.
Thank you, Melon. And just echoing what Melon said, thank you to everybody who's here today. And we're very excited to share an update on our prioritization process with you. And I'm just going to share my screen, just building on Vero's presentation, looking at, sorry, there we go. Looking at our next steps as we move forward in this process. Can you all, Melon, could you just confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, Anna, I can say it. It's okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay. So the next step, now that we've identified all of the needs and parsed them, and we're still analyzing them, but have an initial kind of understanding of them that Veronica shared. The next step is to look, hopefully, to partner with you all in industry to identify solutions so that we can put in place projects to get registrations and MRLs for those needs. So the needs are really, in terms of the way we're packaging it for industry, they fall into 4 categories: new solutions, trade enabling solutions, which refers to Codex MRLs or import tolerances, JMPR periodic review, and technology gaps. And the technology gaps category refers to areas where the tool is registered in one country but is not registered in the other. And so, as opposed to a new solution, which may not be registered anywhere, the technology gap is looking to kind of increase the equality of access, or basically increase or extend access. If something is registered in Canada, and get it registered in Brazil, that kind of approach. So within these 4 categories, what we're going to be doing is sending you some documents to review all of the nominations we received in each of these categories and be able to nominate to us solutions. So those are going to be in the form of an Excel spreadsheet. We're going to be sending out 4 Excel spreadsheets to each company. What we're going to be asking is that each company take the Excel spreadsheet, work on it internally. You can share it around with your team and, manipulate it as you need to, and then send it back to us, 1 spreadsheet per category for each company. So for example, Syngenta, just to take an example, would receive 4 spreadsheets, each one corresponding to these categories, would review it, would complete it, and send it back to us. So we would receive from X company 4 spreadsheets with their nominations. So that's kind of the procedure for how we're going to be moving forward. And what I'm going to do now is walk through each of these categories and explain what they look like and show you how you can make nominations for them. The nomination window will open next Monday. So as I mentioned, we're going to be sending these Excel spreadsheets then, and then it will be closing April 14th. So there's about a 5-week window where industry you all can be reviewing the nominations and considering internally what nominations you want to make and then sending them back to us. The other thing that I wanted to mention about that with regard to the timeline is we know that a 5-week window sometimes to kind of do a deep dive into what nominations are available might not be sufficient. So it's okay if you put tentative information in the nomination spreadsheet. That's fine. We can have further conversations with you as we get further down the process of developing our work plan. That could be over the next few months. So if you need more time, that's okay. What you could do is, I would say, err on the side of including the information that you're considering. And then there's a general comments section where you can note, we need another 2 or 3 weeks. We're still checking internally, or, any kind of caveats that you'd like to provide to the nominations. We'd be happy to take that information and consider it. But it's better for us to have a more comprehensive understanding of what's possible when we're doing our next phases of our work planning based on the nominations that we receive. So now I'll just go through each of these categories. So the first is the new solutions category. This is for nominations where there is, at least for the nominator, the person who submitted the nomination, known solution, and they're looking for a new solution. And this is not necessarily for a Codex MRL, but rather for a domestic MRL. So you can see the pink columns are columns that the foundation will complete that give you the information you need to evaluate the request. And then the green columns are columns that industry would provide the response. So that's where you can be completing the form. So here we provide the commodity, the codex code, the cultivation type, the target, where the request is coming from. This solution preference category refers to whether it's a conventional or biological solution that they're looking for. As Vero shared, about half of those were, half the nominations we received are looking for both. So the majority are open to any solution. And then a greater percentage were looking for conventional, with about 10% looking for biological. So that's the breakdown that you'll see when you get this information from us. And then the green section is where, X company, again, any of the registrants can complete and nominate a solution that they would be willing to support to address this need. For the trade enabling solutions category, which, as I mentioned, refers to both Codex, MRLs, and import tolerances, we again have the same structure where the pink columns are information that we provide as the foundation. Sorry, this is this will have to change this, but this Codex MRL column should also be pink because that's information that we'll be providing. But the compound will list out the compound in question, the commodity, the codex code, the target, and who made the submission. We'll also note whether the submission was requesting a Codex MRL, an import tolerance, and if it's an import tolerance, for which countries they're seeking market access. So I believe all of the nominations we received for these trade enabling solutions did request a Codex MRL. So you'll see Codex for everything, and then you'll see countries associated with these nominations for some of them, where they're also looking for import tolerances in specific markets. And then the green area will be where you can provide your feedback. You would support this, yes or no. You have a label already for this crop chemical combination, yes or no. You have data available already for this crop chemical combination, yes or no, and then any general comments. And as I said, if you have incomplete information here, I know that these can take time to gather all this information. So if you have incomplete information, that's okay. We'd still very much like the nomination. And as I mentioned, then we can follow up with you to have a more kind of detailed conversation about the data availability, about the label, et cetera. But if you are able to provide this information at the outset, it's very helpful to us. And then any caveats, for example, if you do have a label, but the label might have some differences, you might be concerned about whether the label would be suitable for the Australian import tolerance or something, you could note it in the comments. Any other relevant information could be noted there as well. For the JMPR periodic review requests, again, we're looking at the same structure for the template. We'll provide the compound name, the year of the JMPR review, the commodity of interest, the Codex code for the commodity, and the nominating country. And then what we're looking for from you is whether you are able to support that crop chemical combination for the upcoming periodic review. Yeah, and then any general comments that you might have about that. Maybe you have data for a related commodity and where we could look into extrapolation, or any other thoughts that you might have here would be helpful. And obviously, if you're not going to be supporting the compound, that's very good for us to know as well. And then, as I mentioned, for technology gaps, areas where there is already a registration and we're looking to get another registration in a different country, the structure for the document follows the same pattern, with the pink being the information that we will provide. So we'll have the compound here, the commodity, the Codex code, the target, the nominating country, and the country where we're looking for the new registration. Actually, no, I'm sorry. The nominating country, I misspoke. The nominating country is the one who's looking for the registration in their own country. And the nominated source country is the country where the registration is already established. So, there's already a registration in the US, and Kenya's looking for a registration there. And then whether industry would complete this portion where we ask whether you would support it, yes or no, and any comments that you would have about this. Okay. So those are the 4 documents that you'll be receiving from us. As I mentioned, these will go out on Monday to all the registrants, March 3rd, and then we'll be, and you can send us feedback, you can ask us questions, feel free to, in the 5-week gap that we have, the 5-week window, feel free to reach out and we can do calls and, review specific potential nominations together. So we're very open to discussing throughout that time any questions that you might have. And then please send us back the completed nominations by April 14th so that we can complete our nomination process. And I'm going to actually go into, let's see. I think I'm missing some slides here. Sorry, let me just switch to a different presentation. Okay. Yeah, Okay, I'm gonna go here. Okay. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about what will happen after the April 14th window so you can understand how we're going to be finalizing this process. So we're going to be,
Can you see
we've
your
already,
slide
no, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. I'll share now. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, so after the April 14th window closes, the industry nomination window closes, we're going to be doing another round of prioritization and analysis. We're going to look at where we have available solutions and try to evaluate which projects can be the most impactful, and try to take up as many of those as we can with the resources that we have. We may be reaching out to you, as I mentioned, with questions or follow-up information that's needed. And then we're going to be publishing the results of the priority setting process at the CCPR meeting this year, which is happening at the end of May in Santiago, Chile. So our team is going to be there and we're going to be presenting the final results. And just a note about the final results, some of the results will be crop chemical combinations. There may be between 30 and 50 or 60 of those crop chemical combinations, depending on the results of these next steps and what nominations we receive. But some of them might be kind of more directionally oriented, like we want to focus on, fungus and tropical fruits or whitefly or, different kinds of pest and disease categories where we're seeing a lot of unmet need or we're seeing a lot of potential for future work. So that's why we were saying with regard to the nominations that you submit, it doesn't have to specifically be a commitment to a certain crop chemical combination, but more kind of any information you can share about available solutions that we can then use in maybe kind of a broader initiative that we may create around certain crops and diseases. So we're going to be sharing both. We're going to be sharing a list of crop chemical combinations that we're going to be working on immediately, most likely for our 2026 work plan. And then we're also going to be sharing kind of a medium-term plan for broader strategic thinking around key pests and diseases. So I wanted to also share that, in addition to our priority setting process, we are really focused on and interested in participation and collaboration with you as industry. And so I wanted to share some other areas where we can be kind of thinking about that. So as Veronica mentioned, we did receive some specialty project requests to support specialty crops. And so we're going to be looking through those special project requests. There's some interesting ones about data sharing and kind of development of like a database for minor uses and various things like that where industry could play a really important role. So we may be reaching out to you as we kind of develop those ideas and maybe would have specific requests, or it might just be sort of to get your thoughts and feasibility on the implementation of some of these ideas. The next one is around international data sharing for MRL setting and local registration. As I mentioned, we're kind of taking a medium or longer term approach to our work plan. So we may be also trying to identify areas where we could do a joint review or kind of facilitating acceptance of foreign data. And so we may be, industry is a pivotal part of any initiative along those lines. So we may be reaching out to you with questions about that. And then we're also kind of increasing our advocacy with governments around supporting national minor use programs, and wanted to make you aware that we're in the process of developing a guidance document for that, for governments that are looking to make investments in their in minor uses in their country, or are interested in learning how they can better meet minor use needs in their country. Again, industry can play a very important role here, and so we'd like to work in partnership with you on that. And then, as I mentioned, we might be creating new initiatives. This could be we launched last year in the wake of the Global Minor Use Summit a tropical fruit liaison committee, which has been a really nice touch point for thinking about kind of broadly and strategically how we can address tropical, pest and disease pressures in tropical fruit. That's a group of growers globally who are involved in tropical fruit cultivation, and there's a range of commodities involved in that committee. But we may be launching other committees on similar kinds of overarching challenges that we see. And again, we would really welcome industry input in those initiatives. And looking at how MUF can support you all as industry. I mean, that's a part of why you may be joining this call today, and it's really part of our mission is to help support getting access for these tools established, and we're interested in working very closely with you, and we wanted to think about how some of the work that we're doing can be beneficial to you. One area is in training and capacity building. We've noticed a trend where there's a lot of turnover recently in the crop protection industry. And with all of that turnover, there's a lot of new people. And so the Minor Use Foundation has been providing training to companies to assist with some of onboarding, and it could be just letting people know what the Minor Use Foundation is and what we do, but it could also be providing technical training on what is a Codex MRL, what's the process of getting a Codex MRL, how does JMPR work? It could be any number of technical topics that we work in. So we are available to provide that information to your company if it's of interest to you. And also the benefits of working with minor uses are you can generally have accelerated access for new AIs if there's a minor use included in the data package. That is obviously varying across markets. Some countries are very focused on that. Some countries are less focused on that, but it's generally helpful to have minor uses included in registration packages for new AIs. So this is one area where the Minor Use Foundation can be helpful. There's also sometimes and often increased data protections for submissions that are made with minor uses, sort of another incentive to include minor uses and help them get registrations. Again, this is an area where we can be helpful. We can help you generate the data that then goes into that data package. And we also leverage public sector funding and combine it with the private sector contributions that we get, so we can help. If you're able to make an investment, whether it's an in-kind investment or a financial investment in a project, then those investments will be leveraged with public sector funding to get the ultimate result of the registration and the use. And then areas where industry can be supportive to the foundation. Here are some areas just so that you can be aware and think about. As a small nonprofit, we are very grateful for financial support whenever possible. So any contribution of any size is always very valuable to us, but there's lots of ways for companies to work very closely with us and partner with us that are not financial in nature. So capacity building can go in both directions. We would also be very happy to receive capacity building from your technical experts. And what I mean specifically by that is connecting technical experts, maybe subject matter experts on particular AIs with the team that's going to be implementing the work. So if we're doing a project for example, in Ghana, and there's a difficult AI, maybe there's a metabolite involved in the residue analysis, or there's some other complicating factor. It's very helpful if we can have your subject matter experts meet directly with the lab team that's doing the analysis to help ensure that that analysis is being done correctly. So access to your subject matter experts throughout the course of studies can be very valuable. Providing test substance and shipping test substance can also be extremely valuable. This is something that companies generally have a lot of infrastructure around the world. Registrants do to be able to ship things like test substance, and we don't have the capacity to do that as well at the foundation. So that is extremely valuable for us. And then finally, in the development of the protocol and any other technical support throughout the project, and understanding, just answering, being available to answer questions about what the gap should be, what the application method should be, lots of kind of technical things. That's also extremely helpful for us to make sure that the project is high quality, and that we're getting, that we're designing the project the way that we need to be. So, please keep that in mind as we kind of move through this process. Once we get the nominations from you, we're going to be reaching out to you with specific questions about projects. And then this can be kind of the areas where we can focus on for partnership in the future. And that's it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And look forward to talking with you all more and answering any questions you might have.
Thank you very much, Anna. I really appreciate that you have taken time to indicate how industry is going to work together with Minor Use Foundation, and how we can be able to progress on matters related to specialty crops. I would like to encourage you to put your comments and any questions you have in the chat. But at the same time, we have this session that we are getting into, the question and answer session, where I would like to hear from you what you would respond to the presentations that we have made today, and any other questions that you would want us to respond to. Sasi, could you kindly take us through this session? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melon. We see a lot of questions coming in the chat. To start with, Mr. Yuvraj, thank you so much for all your feedback and questions on moving forward with India and registration process. To broadly address your question, so what we are planning as a way of implementation with the countries now is to have them develop or bring out of their own minor use guideline or minor use program for the country. So in that, we plan to cover everything related to pesticide exemplar list or crop grouping, MRL extrapolation, data acceptance from other countries. So all that will be part of it, but we are taking baby steps, one work at a time. So we are starting with MRL, and once we build this relationship with the countries, we are moving at the regulatory level. So that's a short update. And to come back to crop grouping, as you know, as a small organization, we also focus to make sure that whatever resources that we spend or of maximum put in use. So when we look for projects under Codex, we try to choose all the projects for the representative commodities, and our team, with a great technical expertise, they try to identify the crops, even if the nomination is for some subgroup members, but we try to move that around representative crop to ensure that the resources are well utilized, and it gets also applicable to other crops of the group. So that's an update from us, and I will get in touch with you to start our discussions on in India engagements. And I will go on to the next question, Vero. Maybe you can help address this. About OECD MRL fixation. I can read the question, Vero, maybe. And I request it. Okay, so we also have a question from Anna. Does MUF expect to be impacted by the cost-cutting measures being currently implemented by the current administration? Maybe Anna, would you like to answer?
Yes. So we do get substantial funding from USDA, and our funding was, I guess you could say, frozen, or it was under review until recently, and actually just yesterday was approved. So no, we were impacted by the freeze, the initial freeze, for about a month, and now we are going to be resuming our activities as per normal, and we do not anticipate further disruptions, although it's clearly a very unpredictable time right now. But at this time, we don't anticipate to be impacted.
Thank you so much, Anna. So if you have any additional questions on how you can submit the nominations or the timeline or the prioritization process that we adopted, please feel free to do so. You can either add in the chat. Now that we are in the Q&A session, you can also unmute yourself and ask your question directly to our team. So, Vero, maybe you can try to address the OECD MRL question that we had from Mr. Yuvraj.
Yeah, I would like to answer two questions that I see on the chat. The first one is the question about data protections. And when we are doing the organization of one project, we say to our teams that usually are from governments, the government official laboratory for pesticide residue, or a research organization for the field part, and or maybe a university, but we say the final data are going to, I mean, is for the industry. There are the own of the final data because the molecule is protected. And with some teams, some industries send a letter and our team sign, and maybe we can sign too about confidentially and that they are clear that this is a commercial protection information. And after that, we share with them analytical methodologies and start with generate the data. But we take a look before to starting a trial and try to be clear with the industry and with the teams to avoid any problem with the protection of the data. And the second one about OCDE guidelines, we work thinking in codex rules in OCDE guidelines, then we following the rule from codex in the number of trial, a point for decline, and really similar like IR4 SOPs. And this is our first line guideline. We try to, or we really believe in harmonization, then we try to cover all our technical part with Codex guideline or OCDE guidelines.
Thank you, Vero. Okay. Yeah, so that is another challenge that we are trying to address. As we were mentioning, each country have their own regulations, and we are trying to understand and navigate the complexities around the country regulations. So, Gaisa, thank you so much for joining. The nomination forms will be sent to you next week from our team. We will send you 4 Excels along with the guideline document on how to fill this. In case if you missed this meeting, we are more than happy to get in touch with you and provide you more details. And this meeting is also recorded. So if needed, we will also share the part where Anna is explaining the nomination process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So maybe we can take a couple of more questions for the next 2 minutes, if that's okay, Melon. Any additional questions from the industries?
Yes, we have one from Chopra about regulatory data protection is not available in a country like India. Could you weigh in on that, please?
So I was highlighting that now, that each country have their own regulatory policies and agenda. So we are trying our best to align our work with the Codex norms and also FAO guidelines. We are also working at a higher level to see, to provide some kind of global guidance documents for minor use program or adoption. So it is still, in our place, in our pipeline. And hopefully, we will continue working to strengthen that with the countries. Anna, would you like to add more? Or
No, I think that's good. Thank you. And maybe just to say that if there's any other questions as you review the documents or just that we didn't have time to cover today, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I can put my email in the chat. I think most of you have it, but for those that don't have it, feel free to reach out to me. I also saw that Dirk put his email address in the chat too, and you can feel free to reach out to him as well if you would like to make any comments or questions to him.
Thank you. And through this, I would also like to take the opportunity to thank the industries with whom, who have been supporting us so far. And we hope to get your continued support, with this new prioritization process. We will be also aligning our priorities by close consultation, by doing close consultation with you all in the coming weeks. So please stay connected until we have the CCPR meeting where we will be establishing the priorities. If no more questions, then I will hand over the session to Melon back again.
Thank you very much, Sasi. We are getting closer to the end of the session, and I would just like to remind you that we will have this session for nominating solutions by the industry starting on March 3rd, and it will run through April 14th. And we shall send you the information as soon as we have completed analysis in line with the timings we have given you. Please feel free to talk to us, and we will be able to give you any feedback and any clarifications that you need. Just to make sure that we record this as a very important meeting to us, we'd like you to open up your videos so that we can do a group photo, kindly. If you can have your videos on, we do a group photo. Thank you very much. Yes, as we do that, Sasi is reminding us that we have the frequently asked questions on our website. Please feel free to look at them, and in case you need further clarification, please let us know. Thank you for your videos. We have more to go. Just a minute, I take the photo. Okay, not yet there. Give me a minute. Sasi, you can also do a backup for me. Okay, just another one for the second page. Thank you. You came in large numbers, and we really appreciate that you are able to join us today. Okay, at the moment now, I would like to now welcome Edwin to give us the closing remarks. We really thank you for taking time to join, and we hope that we shall be collaborating with you in the coming future. Edwin, please give us the closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Melon and Sasi. Thank you, Melon, for your excellent moderation of the meeting. On behalf of the Minor Use Foundation, I would like to thank you very much for your attendance. We hope that today's session has been of real interest for you. Remember that the platform for the nomination of the solution will open from March 3 to April 14, 2025. I would like to add that any question that arise during the solution nomination process will be attempted to answer them through the emails we have in the chat. In this moment, I put the emails in the chat for any question during process. And thank you very much for your attention, and have a good day.